Shel Silverstein is an author and poet. A poet writes small pieces of writing that rhyme like the lyrics of a song. He is very imaginative and creates his own characters. And today we will be making our own creatures inspired by Shel Silverstein. He makes his own names up, like that word I've never seen before. Here's another creature that he created just by drawing little small details on watercolor. There are some funny ways you can illustrate, but again, he's not adding a lot of detail. Look, right here he's just adding a little bit of stippling to make some interesting detail, a little eye, some paws for claws, and big old teeth in this empty space. Keep the liquid watercolor on the plate. There are two ways you can do this. You can get a brush and pick up the ink using your brush and just let it drip on your paper. And then I can just kind of pick my paper up. Maybe I want to paint a bigger blob there. I can take a straw and put it in the liquid and hold my finger on the top. When my finger's on the top, it actually holds the ink right inside of the straw, and then it drips out that way. And then with the straw, if I put my mouth on it and blow, it spreads the paint a little bit. And I can leave it like that, or I can blow it some more, but I want to have some areas for me to draw inside and around, so I don't want to fill my whole piece of paper. If I do this in the same day and I want to draw on top of it right away, I can take a dry paper towel, crumple it up, and pick up all that extra. You can see it's going to smudge it a little bit, but if I keep turning my paper towel to the clean area and pick up where it's puddly, that can dry it off. It'll also make it lighter though. So if I want to keep it dark, I want to just put it aside and leave it alone for a minute. Start drawing, I want to turn it around and decide what angle I like to look at it best and see if I can find anything inside of it. I can use these spaces as details of the creature, or I can draw around them. When I am illustrating with my Sharpie, I can't make any mistakes. So, if I didn't like something, if I made an oops, remember, think of it as a chance to turn it into something beautiful, something else really cool that you didn't originally plan. So you saw me outlining, basically drawing the shape with just one simple line, and I didn't color anything in with my Sharpie. Here's some techniques you can use to color in other than just making it all solid black. Let's say I was going to shade in my scarf or color in my scarf that I had drawn. Instead of just coloring something in all solid, because this is a little Sharpie or a little pen, I can do something called cross-hatching, which is basically lines in one direction, and then I'm going to draw lines crossing it in the other direction. I can make them closer together if I want it to be darker, and further apart if I want it to be lighter. I draw my lines one direction and then carefully across, going the other direction, and making some of the lines further apart and closer together if I want them to be darker. Another way for me to color something in or add texture or make an area look darker is stippling. Stippling is little dots. Now I'm not slamming my Sharpie onto the table, I'm just making little marks gently. This is stippling. The closer together the dots are, the darker it'll look. The further apart the dots are, the lighter it'll become. This is a cool way to add texture and shade in an area. Again, I'm not making all the dots the same distance apart. I'm making them closer together where I want it to be darker. And I'm making the dots further apart where I want it to be lighter. I can also create texture using line. Line can create texture when I repeat it, almost like a pattern. This might make something look scaly. I could make something look dry and cracked using jaggedy lines. I could make something look fluffy by doing little curly cute lines, so this starts to create a texture. This starts to look almost woolly like a sheep, or hairy, making lines go all in the same direction. So these are all different illustration techniques. This is me just using line instead of coloring anything in to add some detail. He's got a mug of hot chocolate, some boots, long legs, and sitting on a hill. Now I get to think about what I want to call him and what in the world is his story. The sitting snow sickle. After the snowstorm, the snow sickle sits, enjoying hot cocoa that is warming his mitts. The sun warms up. The ice begins to trickle. Dripping, dripping, dripping. Where is the snow sickle?